What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Mr. Mustache MMA News, and today I want to discuss last Saturday's UFC 283's co-main event between Brandon Moreno and Deiveson Figueiredo. But guys, before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly. All right, guys, getting right into it. Brandon Moreno ends the quadrilogy via doctor stoppage at the end of the third round via eye injury against Deiveson Figueiredo, claims the undisputed flyweight title after four epic battles between Deiveson Figueiredo at 125. Also finished Kai Kara-France in between for an interim belt before this fight. So, I mean, all hats off to Brandon Moreno at 125, our new champion. And Deiveson Figueiredo, man, what a killer career that he had at 125. But I can't wait to see what he's going to do moving forward at 135, moving up. He already said he's going to go up to Bantamweight. It's already been talked about even before this fight that he was going to do that. I think he just wanted to come down and kind of just finish this storyline, finish his 125 career. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do moving forward at 135. Maybe fight a guy like Ricky Simone, kind of get his feet wet in a new weight class, because clearly the weight cut has just been too much for him. He can't even last 5 rounds anymore. So explosive, so big for the weight class. Against a guy like Brandon Moreno, where he's just that clearly is his natural weight class, and he can go all day. We had just 4 killer fights between these guys, and just kind of looking back at it, right? You had the draw in the first one. Brandon Moreno won by submission in the second one. Deiveson took the decision in the third one. A little bit controversial, but the fight was close enough nonetheless. And then in the fourth one, Brandon Moreno finishes him, just outclassed him. He just wasn't scared of Deiveson, and just there's some times on the ground where he definitely was playing very reckless, where Deiveson was able to sink in some very, very dangerous guillotines on Moreno. But he stayed calm, stayed patient, and just showed that he was the more dominant fighter. He was the more ready fighter. His cardio was just on point, and he just put it on Deiveson. And Deiveson just, as the fight wore on, he just couldn't. And then once Brandon landed that punch right on his eye, just completely closed his eye up. And, he complained like it was like an eye poke, but you could tell after the punch, kind of palmed him away, but it was on the opposite side of the face of where he complained. So it just showed he got punched in the eye and he thought it was an eye poke, but it wasn't an eye poke. It was a legal punch. And you could just see it swell up immediately, and he just wasn't the same after that. You could just tell he just wasn't there. Obviously, he got fucking clocked right in his eye. It could have been a broken orbital. I'm not sure. But just to see Brandon Moreno just go out there and just dominate like that again for the fourth fight and just show that he was out there, the better fighter in the right weight class. Deiveson moving up in a weight class. I think that's very interesting. He has a lot of choices up there that he can make, a lot of good matchups up there. I think Ricky Simone is the perfect matchup for him to get his feet wet up there. And a guy like Brandon Moreno, definitely moving forward, the obvious matchup for him to defend his belt against next is Alexander Pantoja, who he's 0-2 against, where he had the loss in the Ultimate Fighter and a loss in the UFC. I think it was his first stint in the UFC. I think after that loss, I think he got cut. He went back to the LFA, won some fights, came back, and then has been on his run ever since, That's why Moreno's story is so interesting, because at that point, at 125, they were kind of getting rid of the division, and anybody who lost at that point, they were kind of getting cut. They were slowly cutting everybody in that weight class, and he was a part of that. And once the weight class kind of got alive again and he was getting some wins over the LFA, they brought him back, and he beat Brandon Royval, and then he kind of went back and just had those fights with Figgy. He finished Kai Kara-France for the interim strap before this fourth fight with Figgy. That's why I wasn't really too understanding on why people were annoyed with this fourth fight. It's like the UFC was doing their best to move forward with the division and keep things moving, and they even did that with the interim belt with Moreno and Kara-France. I thought that was good work by the UFC. I thought that was good work by all the guys trying to keep the division moving, and I hope that's what they do next. I think Pantoja is the perfect matchup next for Brandon Moreno. And you have some other guys that you can kind of set up for the next number one contender, like Manel Kape or Matheus Nicolau. I know they fought already before, but I think maybe if you have a rematch between those two guys, that can kind of clear up the division, kind of see who the true number one contender is behind Pantoja. So you can kind of have the next year or so kind of just in the crystal ball of what you can see moving forward with the division at 125, right? But moving forward, I think Brandon Moreno, Alexander Pantoja, perfect matchup. Have guys like Nicolau and Kape fight it out for the next number one contender spot. And you got Figueiredo going up to 135, and I think that he has a plentiful amount of matchups ready for him up there at 135. Guys, let me know in the comment section what you guys think is next for each man. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly, guys. All right, guys, Mr. Mustache, MMA News out. Let's fucking go, fight fans.